G'day and welcome to a wide world of webinars, GoAway style. My name is Don, GoAway's in-house destination expert, and today's topic is Kia ora, or g'day, or both, and welcome to New Zealand. Have you been dreaming of a trip to New Zealand? Dreaming of soaking in the hot pools of Rotorua? Trekking the Milford Trek, perhaps? Shooting over the rivers in a jet boat over the Shot Over River in Queenstown? Or jumping off a bridge, safely of course, with big rubber bands wrapped around your feet? Or laying eyes on the magical and stunning backdrop to the Lord of the Rings films? Discover its many natural wonders, unique Maori culture and warm hospitality, New Zealand. As you might tell from my accent, I am an Australian. And no, I'm not a Kiwi. Now, Kiwi is slang for a New Zealander that Australians use. And yes, there is a difference in accent, culture and history. Australians have made many claims on New Zealand. Crowded House? Kiwis. Russell Crowe, Kiwi, and Keith Urban, he's also a Kiwi. We don't, however, claim the All Blacks.
Finding Moonga, dummies, now holds it up for Reid, tips it on for a talent, has Mooney on the hip, Joe Mooney, try!
The most successful professional sports team in history. We're actually jealous of them, but don't tell anyone they said that. But New Zealand is a country in its own right, with a stunning and rich Indigenous history with equally stunning vistas on offer. As Australia found international fame during the 80s and 90s, New Zealand's wonders came to international light through Hollywood, so through such films as Once Were Warriors and Lord of the Rings, The Piano, as well through music of the aforementioned Crowded House and Keith Urban. But back in the day, before Peter Jackson, Crowded House and Russell Crowe, there was a rich, at times violent, but always vibrant history to New Zealand. And while the ties between New Zealand and Australia have remained strong, the term Anzac is from World War I, where the countries fought together as Australia and New Zealand Army Corps. And while there is an ongoing healthy love-hate relationship, particularly in sport, New Zealand and Australia are two completely different countries. What would be the major reasons for a Globetrotter booking a New Zealand vacation? Well, like most countries in the world, this makes for a long list. One of the driving forces would be nature at her best, offering breathtaking landscapes of stunning and diverse natural beauty, which include majestic and dramatic fjords, spectacular glaciers, rugged mountains, vast plains and farmland, long coastlines, wonderful sandy beaches and active geothermal regions, plus so much more. The country also has a deep Indigenous history, culture, old and colonial. Not least winelands producing world-class excellent wines. New Zealand is equally enticing and stunning as Australia, and while many may think it offers similar experience to that of Australia, and in some cases it does, New Zealand most definitely is its own unique place of adventure, history and culture. All this is to say that when you think down under, think New Zealand, be it in combination with Australia or better still as a standalone destination. Let's go over the basics of New Zealand. Where is New Zealand? Well, if you've been paying attention, you'll know New Zealand is in the South Pacific, a stone's throw away from Australia. It's easy to get there, though it is a long flight, but as we here at Go Away say, it's a dinner, wine, or a few beers, or a combination of both, a movie and a sleep, then voila, you're in New Zealand. Times to New Zealand from the west coast of North America are approximately 13 hours with a date change, 9 hours from Honolulu, which is direct. New Zealand is a country made up of two major islands, simply called the North and the South Island, which are separated by the Cook Strait, which is 22 kilometres, 14 miles in width at its narrowest point. They contrast not only in terrain and physical features, but also in character and attractions. The North Island is volcanic and thermal. The South Island is 2/3 mountains and 1/3 plain. The North Island offers lush, subtropical vegetation, exotic flora and fauna, beaches and attractive small friendly towns. Approximately 75% of Maori culture exists on the North Island, although only 15% of the total New Zealand population is Maori. The Polynesians, from whom the Maoris are descended, settled here on the North Island many centuries ago. Your international gateway into New Zealand is Auckland in the north of the North Island. The main carriers are Air New Zealand, with their cool safety videos, Qantas, and Air Fiji and Air Tahiti Nui, if looking at going by or stopping, of course, in either Fiji or Tahiti, which we do highly recommend. The airport is plus or minus 26 kilometres, 18 miles away from downtown Auckland, and the airport is well connected by an expressway into downtown where the majority of accommodation choices are. Drive time is approximately 30 minutes to an hour, always dependent upon traffic. We highly recommend a pre-arranged private transfer to get your globetrotting clients to their hotel on arrival. Go Air recommends private guided services. If they are arriving into Auckland from North America with a plus or minus 13-hour flight and a major time slip, the last thing you want your clients to be negotiating is a transfer. Have someone waiting for them on arrival who can advise on money changing and or getting a SIM card, and of course, handling all their baggage. Accommodation choices, like in all main cities in New Zealand and even some smaller towns, abound and range from 3 to 5 star. No visas are required for Canadians or Americans to visit New Zealand.
To that I say, all right, all right, all right.
The size of New Zealand is comparable with that of Great Britain or Japan. The coastline in its entirety measures 1,500 kilometres or 900 miles in length. Strangely enough, the same distance that separates New Zealand from Australia across the Tasman Sea. 20% of the country is covered in national parks, forests and reserves. An interesting fact is that 80% of the flora here is native. Getting around New Zealand. Getting around is best done by air, with many regional gateways such as Christchurch, connecting with flights from Australia, as well as domestic locations such as Dunedin, Queenstown and Rotorua in the north. Getting around by land, time allowing, is also highly recommended. New Zealand is a perfect place for a self-drive vacation, and Go Away has many self-drive options on hand. It is long and narrow, similar in size again to the state of Colorado, and at any given point you are no further than 100 kilometres, 70 miles from the ocean. Apart from the many organised small and large coach tour Go Away's offers, there is a national coach circuit that can be used to get around as well. The tremendous diversity of its topography is comparable to an entire continent. Within a few hours travel, you can go from subtropical beaches to alpine glaciers, from fjords to rainforests, and from cosmopolitan cities to great tracts of wilderness. With so much to see and do, we recommend that you allow at least 2 weeks to explore this extraordinary country by road. When to go to New Zealand? If the weather is the deciding factor for your globetrotting clients, i.e. they like heat or don't like heat, and you're wondering when is the best time to visit New Zealand, it helps tremendously, of course, to know which places you want to visit. If visiting both North and South Islands, be ready to dress in layers. New Zealand's climate can vary enormously from moderate in the south to subtropical in the far north. The total length of the country is a narrow 1,600 kilometres, 900 miles. This is not much less than the distance from the Canadian-US border to Florida. So Globetrotters need to keep in mind how different climates of these locales can be at any given time in any given season. And of course, clients need to pack accordingly. Also remember, the seasons in New Zealand are reversed from those in North America. Now that may sound like a simple point, but many forget this fact. To summarize, December to February is summer, March to May is fall, June to August is winter, and September to November is spring. Regardless of season, New Zealand is a year-round destination, but available activities and weather will vary according to your destination and the time of year of travel. Auckland. Starting with the North Island, largest city is Auckland, known as City of Sails, due to having around 135,000 registered sailboats bobbing in its harbour. The city sits on a volcanic field, and the nearby Globetrotter Island is an unpopulated landmass formed by volcanic activity. Harbour area teems with life both time and the evening, with its many cafes, restaurants and bars, and other entertainments. A popular pastime is to take a harbour cruise for a different visual perspective of Auckland. This cruise is often included on our stopovers for Auckland. Culturally, one can choose from a number of venues such as the Auckland Art Gallery with its 15,000 works of art, War Memorial Museum, which not only depicts life during World Wars and others, but also has an excellent exhibition of Maori and Polynesian people's arts and crafts. Wellington. Wellington is the national capital and is a very attractive city renowned for its natural beauty and also for its arts and culture, and is located in the south of the North Island. It is ringed by mountains and rolling hills, has a rugged coastline. A vibrant city, it offers trendy cafes, restaurants, boutiques, and several art galleries. To discover the city, take the cable car to Mount Victoria or Mount Kauku to enjoy a panoramic view of Wellington and its surroundings. Rotorua. Rotorua is the centre of most of the geothermal activity in New Zealand. It is known as a thermal wonderland due to its many gushing hot springs and geysers, and because of these natural phenomena, Rotorua is usually included on a New Zealand getaway. Also in Rotorua, other attractions such as the Rainbow Springs National Park, beautiful landscape gardens featuring fish and birds, including the flightless kiwi bird, hence the nickname for a New Zealander, kiwi. And the Agrodome, with its exhibition of rural New Zealand life, including sheep shearing demonstrations. Nearby, the Watomo glowworm caves, with their interesting limestone formations. The Bay of Islands. The subtropical Bay of Islands is a very pretty region in the far north of the North Island, made up of around 150 islands, a wonderful destination to both relax and explore on a New Zealand getaway. A good place to see dolphins, whales and penguins. The main centre is Paia, with its superb beaches and the site of the Tangi Treaty, signed in 1840 to unite the country. Russell is a short ferry ride from Paia and is a charming township with an interesting history. Hawke's Bay. Hawke's Bay is one of the major centres of New Zealand wine producing regions. It is also home to the cities of Napier and Hastings, which offer unusual architecture. An earthquake destroyed much of the unique Art Deco buildings here in 1931, but they have now been restored to their original beauty. Adventure, culture, luxury, or lifestyle stays, or, you guessed it, a combination of all. GoAway has done it all and is ready to help you create that perfect customised New Zealand experience for your globetrotting client. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining us this afternoon or today, depending on where you are in Canada or the US. Welcome to our webinar on North Island, New Zealand, Central North Island, New Zealand. The video you would have just seen has some highlights of the North Island, which we're going to expand on later today, later in the webinar, sorry. But you also would have seen some overviews of New Zealand, how to get there, whether the best times to go, etc. But again, today's focus is Central North Island, which is substantially different from South Island. So I'm now going to pass you over to Lou Baddeley, who is the Trade Marketing Manager for Rotorua, but also is very, very well versed in actually all things New Zealand, but particularly North Central Island. So Lou, over to you.
Good morning, Don. Fantastic to be here. Morena, as we say in this part of the world. Yeah, I'm super excited to be talking to you about my beautiful home, the North Island. So I'm actually the International Manager for Rotorua NZ, or Trade Marketing Manager, same. But today I'm going to take you on a little bit of a journey of the beautiful central North Island region. So I've got a little presentation to share.
And just while Lou's bringing it up, just so everyone knows, this is being recorded at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon in Toronto, and Lou has got up bright and early for us, and it's about 7 a.m. in Rotorua, where you are now. Are you in Rotorua?
Well, just to confuse things, Don, I'm actually in the South Island right now, but it's the same time zone.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Although lots of people think, it's a different currency and all that, it's actually not. You can see everything there, Don. Hey.
Yep, we can see your screen nice and clear. Thank you. Away you go.
Okay, so two main islands in New Zealand. Our main international gateway is Auckland. So what we have here is Auckland, our main international airport, and then we have 3 distinct but quite beautiful regions. So what we're going to do for the purposes of this presentation is talk about touring routes. So first of all, in the North Island, we're going to talk about the Pacific Coast Highway, which is the blue one that runs from Auckland and then all the way over around this way. Then we're going to talk about the Thermal Explorer Highway, and you're going to see why it's called thermal shortly. And then down here we have the Volcanic Loop Highway. So regardless, Auckland is our main gateway. To give you a sense of driving times from Auckland down to visit me in Rotorua, that is about 2 hours and 45 minutes. But what you're going to find here is the Thermal Explorer Highway. We've got 4 distinct regions. We've got the Waikato region, which is the main city there is Hamilton. We've got Rotorua. We've got the beautiful lake region of Taupo down here. And then we have the volcanic central zone of the Ruapehu. Over to this, the Pacific Coast Highway, we've got the gorgeous regions of the Coromandel, down to stunning beaches in the Bay of Plenty, over to gorgeous, untouched, off the beaten track, stunning coastline of Gisborne, Tarawhiti region, and down to Hawke's Bay down here, which has some of the best food and wine that you're going to find anywhere in the world. Now, the key thing
just to interject for a second, can you just let our listening public know, or viewing public know, what's the population of New Zealand and how is that split between North and South? Again, ballpark.
Okay, so New Zealand has a population of just over 5 million. So when you meet a New Zealander, give them a cuddle. There's not many of us. And 3/4 of the population of New Zealand actually live in the North Island. So still not a lot of people when you think that geographically we're the same size as the state of California, but there's only 5 million of us. Now, here's another fun fact, John. See that big lake in the middle of the North Island, Lake Taupo?
Lake Taupo, yep.
Right, well, that lake there is the same size as the island of Singapore. And the population of Singapore is more or less, just a few 100,000 different to us. So just to put this into context,
wow.
all of the people of Singapore live on that lake in the middle of our North Island. So it gives you a bit of a sense of our scale, again, when you think that all of New Zealand is the same size as the state of California.
Yeah, that's a good way to put the perspective in place. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So look, the main thing I really want to share with you is that the North Island is really suited to self-drive, and hence we're talking about different touring routes. Look, when your clients are coming to New Zealand, you really want to be allowing at least 9 to 12 days, ideally, to explore the central North Island. So half of your time in New Zealand should be in the north. But look, nowhere is too far in the North Island. All of the different routes loop together to form an outstanding itinerary, but you're not looking at very long drive times. So again, Auckland to Rotorua is 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I like to stop to my screen. From Rotorua down to Taupo, you're looking at a 55-minute drive. From Rotorua over to Napier, you're looking at a 3-hour drive again. So very short time frames. Hamilton to Rotorua is just over an hour, which is absolutely a contrast to the South Island, where I happen to be right now, where you're looking at 5, 7, 8 hours. So that really is a point of difference.
Right.
A lot of condensed activity, things to do and see with relatively short driving time.
Wonderful.
I think,
And Lucius mentioned obviously self-drives, which are one of the most popular choices for Go Away and New Zealand, but also I know that these routes can also be done in guided coach tours as well, which is also another popular choice for people when heading down to anywhere in New Zealand, but particularly North Island.
very good, Don. I feel like you've done this before.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to jump on in. We're going to go from Auckland, our international gateway, our main airport, and we're going to jump into this fabulous little region here where my mouse is circling. So let's jump on in to the mighty Waikato, which is home to waves, caves, and hobbit holes. So the Waikato is an hour and a half south of Auckland Airport. Now this region is perfect for your last or first night itinerary. So jump into Auckland, stay in the Waikato overnight, come down to Rotorua, or if your clients are flying out of Auckland, because they're only doing the North Island, for example, the Waikato is also perfect for last nights. So Hamilton is the main metropolitan city in this region. It's actually New Zealand's 4th largest city, but it's also home to the longest river in the country, or awa, as we say here, being the Māori word for river, the Waikato River. So again, just to pronounce this region, Wai, which is the Māori word for water, Waikato. So as I said before, this region is quite famous. Look, it was famous for many years because of the fantastic underground glowworms and adventures. So you can have fantastic fun underground in this place. And that is, of course, at the world famous Waitomo Caves, which will be a stop for many of the North Americans on their way in. But it is also home to Middle Earth movie magic, home to the Hobbiton movie set, which is, look, frankly, a world must do. I'm not sure about a New Zealand must do. It's in the world.
There are a lot of there are a lot of Lord of the Rings fans over here. So yeah, definitely.
Look, I actually officially come from Hobbiton, Don. I've got a big personality, but I'm only 5'1.5". So when I go there, they say, Lou, welcome home.
Welcome home.
And we're going to be joined a little bit later by Henry from Hobbiton, because he's got a few updates there about what's happening at that real life gorgeous movie set. Wonderful. So just again, to give you a sense of how long everything takes, Waitomo, which is home to the caves, you can see that on the bottom right. So there's a number of underground touring options where you can go and see the glowworms, but that is only 60 minutes from Hamilton itself. So there's 5 different caving operators actually working in the trade space at Waitomo. So you can do cave walking tours. You can also do underground adventure trips. So lots of different options there based on your client's needs. So actually, just a little shout out for 2 that I've specifically done. So one is the Waitomo Glowworm Cave. That's where most suited to families. That's actually the picture in the bottom right. The other one I've done, which is Ruakuri Caves. Sorry about all the Māori words, but that's how we roll around here. So Ruakuri actually means 2 dogs. And if you want to know why on earth I've named some caves 2 dogs, message me and I will tell you.
Yeah, probably the same story behind the Australian expression of 2 dogs.
I feel like we need a wine to unpack this.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So with Ruakuri, you walk down this incredible spiral staircase deep underground, just extraordinary. That one's really good for FIT, not groups, and people with older children. Anyway, there's also Aranui Cave. There's Blackwater rafting trips that you can do with the legendary Blackwater Rafting Company. So, right, so now we're going to move a little bit further down the road, an hour and a quarter from Hobbiton, so Rotorua is a fascinating place. And why is it fascinating? Well, first up, we talked about Māori culture, Don. So that is one of the key reasons people will come to Rotorua, where 30% of our population is Māori, and this is where your clients are going to experience world-class cultural immersive experiences. So we have a number of award-winning experiences. Te Puia, I've got Adam with me, he's going to jump in shortly. Te Puia is home to the Māori Arts and Crafts Institute of New Zealand. So this is a working school where clients can go in and see the carvers in action, carving wood. You can have a chat with them. What are you making, mate? What's that wood? You can learn all about that. They have lots of different other carving options as well. So you can see bone carving. There's a bronze foundry, and you can see giant pieces of art that the carvers were working on, some which will head off overseas on behalf of New Zealand. It's an absolutely extraordinary place. Now, even once you get outside of the Māori Arts and Crafts Institute, the mind is blown, because at Te Puia, it's also located on a geothermal plateau. Now, Don, are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The geothermal plateau is called Te Whakarewarewa Valley. So we shorten that to Waka Valley, but yeah, Te Whakarewarewa Valley. Now, this is
You take the last part of the word, not the first part.
Yeah, okay, I know. Now here we have extraordinary geothermal activity. So Te Puia is home to a very active geothermal zone. So this is where you're going to see Pohutu, which means big splash. And this is the largest geyser in the southern hemisphere, and it's completely natural. She just erupts whenever she feels like it. So and when I say erupt, it can go up to 30 meters. You can convert that to feet for me, Don. But she's a regular eruption approximately every 45 minutes. And it's an absolute stunning wonder. Now, going back to the geothermal that we actually have across the region, we're located on the second most active volcanic zone in the world. So geysers, bubbling mud, beautiful mineral pools, which also make way for stunning recreational activities, including bathing. But backing up the bus a little bit, in terms of the third reason people come to Rotorua, because we've got Māori culture, spa and wellness. The other reason is actually adventure, and we're absolutely known as the adventure capital of the North Island. But I hasten to add, when we say adventure, think of everything that's nana adventure through to hardcore adventure. So we have everything in Rotorua, from some fantastic biking, as you can see there. You can go zip lining in an ancient forest with Rotorua canopy tours, which is currently the #1 activity in New Zealand. I'm about to zip line in a few weeks for my 20th time. So everything you can think of adventure-wise, we have it, including on the water, because we're a lake district. We have 18 lakes, and anything you can think of to do in a forest, whether it's riding a horse, going for a run, riding a bike, you can do it with us. The other reason people visit us is, look, we're extraordinarily beautiful. We are, with 18 lakes and forests and the geothermal, it's a place like no other. Now, the key thing here for Rotorua that I need to share with you is that we are a 3-night stay. We have so much to do in our region. We're a small destination with only 75,000 people, but everything is very close together. And I always go on about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. And I think people are joking. You can drive from the one side of town to the other in 10 minutes. If you're at Te Puia and you want to go zip lining in the afternoon, that's a 10-minute drive. I was on a whamau the other day. We finished zip lining, we walked across the road, we didn't even get in the car to go to Skyline Rotorua, where we went up a hill in a gondola, we did wine tasting, and then we went luging. I suggest wine tasting last.
You're very nice. So being a small town, but being a very popular town, is it difficult to get accommodation in high season?
It can be, yes. So high season for us is December, January really, and a little bit of February. Yeah. So look, booking ahead, but that's why you book with a travel agent, right?
Of course. Yep.
In terms of accommodation, we have a huge amount of bed nights, 5,000 beds per night in Rotorua. So we have every kind of accommodation for all sorts of budgets, everything from major, Pullman, Novotel, Ibis, to other hotels as well that your clients will absolutely be familiar with. We also have glamping, we have bed and breakfast, we have hostels, and a large number of motels. But you name it, Don, we've got it. That's the hardest thing to talk about for Rotorua. We literally have something for everyone, but I really need to emphasize that 3-day stay, 3-night stay. Alrighty, let's jump down and see my beautiful neighbors. This is the Taupo region. So we know the size of Taupo. Don, were you listening? How big is it? The size
The
of
lake is the size of Singapore. Yes, is it the size of Singapore, or Singapore can fit on it in it?
the size of the island of Singapore.
Size of, okay, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So taupo, so in terms of saying it, it's toe and paw. So we have toes, dogs have paws, bring them
Always put
together.
them together,
Toe.
you got taupo.
Very good. So this is the trout fishing capital of New Zealand. We've got fantastic lake options as well in terms of cruising on the lake, fishing on the lake, and catching fish on the lake, catching trout. We also have some stunning scenery. So here we have Hooker Falls. Now this is the lake-only outlet of the mighty Waikato River. So that river, the longest river in New Zealand, has a wee outlet here. You've got some super exciting cruising options. You've got jet boat adventures. This is one of New Zealand's most visited natural locations. In terms of accommodation here, we've got the luxurious 5-star Hooker Lodge, incredible food, and a wide range of other hotel and resort type accommodations. The geothermal continues down into the Taupo region as well. Waiariki, that you can just see in the middle there, there's that word again, Waiariki, is a stunning swimming pool complex, so where people can really get out and enjoy the geothermal wonders. So getting out as well on the lake in Taupo is a must. You can go out onto the lake. Chris Jolly Adventures, you can cruise out with him, go do some fishing, cruise out to the Māori Rocks on Lake Taupo. You can also hire bikes if that's your thing. You're going to go and see Johnny at 4B and he can do guiding or take you wherever you want to on the lake. Then you could also go and see the team at Taxi Cat Adventures. They can take you and your bikes. They just put the bikes on the roof of the boat, as you do. Take you over to wherever you want to go, or you bike in and he'll pick you up and he can take you to do whatever you want. So that's just extraordinary, and that is absolutely a gorgeous part of New Zealand. So we're going to travel further a little bit south now, and we're going to go down to the Ruapehu region. So this is our North Island's true off the beaten track destination. You've got stunning nature options here. You've got beautiful volcanic landscapes. I mean, just look at it. You've got alpine villages. You've got small mountain towns off the beaten track are the key words here. So there's not a lot of crowds in this region, Don, but you're going to get pretty close to nature. It is an awesome year-round destination, but actually the whole of the North Island is an awesome year-round destination.
Lou, just again to interrupt, looking at the images there, to me, as a bit of a novice to New Zealand, they look reminiscent of the South Island. Could you hazard and say this is a sample of the South Island in the scenery, from a scenery point of view, just with the mountains in the background?
Yeah, I would agree with that actually. Yeah. But, a lot more accessible, of course, to access scenery of this sort of scale and beauty in the South Island. Well, look, it's in every corner in our country, let's be honest. You're going to have to drive quite a distance. Where Ruapehu's only an hour and a half, well, actually, you start getting into that region just 1 hour south of Taupo. So again, that's the beauty of the North Island with the short driving distances. But again, because we're off the beaten track, this is where we're talking boutique accommodation. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but you know, lots of hippies here. So you're going to find lots of sustainable stays. We've got winter ski options here. This is where I go snowboarding. You've got summer sightseeing on the mountain there, which is Mount Ruapehu. So skiing, snowboarding, you've got sightseeing. There's 2 different ski areas. There's also a gondola. Now, waka in Māori, W-A-K-A, is the word for vehicle, whether that's a canoe, whether that's a bike, not a horse, that's a different word, waka. So they have a sky waka, moving vehicle, a gondola, that heads up the mountain. So that's the most spectacular, it's actually the longest gondola ride in the country, up to the very top of Mount Ruapehu, and you can go up to their stunning award-winning Knoll Ridge Chalet up there, which is the highest dining experience in New Zealand. So that's a fantastic activity to do. Alrighty, they've got world-class hikes and walks here. We've got Tongariro National Park to the west and the Whanganui National Park to the east. So you're going to find world-class hikes, including, of course, the Tongariro Alpine Crossing. There's a lot of other shorter walks that you can do, a lot of hidden gems. So easy walks, whether you're a family, whether you're a single, or if you want to go for multi-days, knock yourself out. There's hikes, guided tours that you can do as well, and lots of different knowledgeable operators. And we were talking about Lord of the Rings and Hobbits earlier. A lot of the scenery and film locations are in the Ruapehu district, so from the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay.
Did you know that, Don?
I didn't know that because I would have, most of the stuff I've read and seen about was South Island, but obviously not all of it was.
That's why we're here today, to surprise and delight. Right, then we can do some adventures on the Whanganui River. Look, this river absolutely fascinates me. This is the first river in the world to be recognised as a living entity. And what you can do on this river is you can do a great walk, you can go paddling, you can go kayaking, you can go in a jet boat. So you've got it's actually New Zealand's longest navigable, I don't know if I said that right, waterway. And there's also this iconic bridge, and it's called the Bridge to Nowhere, Don. So it's just extraordinary. You've got world-class fly fishing. You can get a guide to take you fishing as well. We've also got stunning cycling, if cycling's more your thing. There's 8 spectacular scenic routes that go from the volcanic landscape over to Mount Ruapehu. You can bike over towards the coast. You can do multi-day rides. You can pick a cruisy easy ride. You can do something that's a little bit more technical. And I've done most of them, and I have to say they are absolutely extraordinary, and probably my favourite for people that like to get off the beaten track and challenge themselves a little bit, but not too much, is hire an e-bike. That's my first piece of advice. And go and do the Old Coach Road, which is officially one of New Zealand's great rides. The other one is the Timber Trail, which is also an iconic ride. I did that over 2 days. And fun fact, if you hop on the Timber Trail Lodge website, you might see someone that you recognise being used as a model there on that website. They were desperate. I got called up. Now, here in that region, we also have Forgotten World Adventures. So down the bottom of the screen, we can see a fascinating looking tunnel. Now, Forgotten World Adventures do rail cart journeys and river cruises into a forgotten world. So Don, what happens here is you're going to drive your own rail cart and you're going to cruise along a decommissioned railway. So there's no trains, it's perfectly safe. And you're going to go through hand-built tunnels over heritage bridges, or you can hop aboard a 4-day Rhine of the Pacific River cruise tour. So it's full of history, it's full of heritage, fully guided, just extraordinary. It's one of the most authentic overnight stays that you can experience in New Zealand. So as you can see from even just talking about Taupo in the Ruapehu district, you want to be stopping there and experiencing these. You could easily spend 3 nights in the Ruapehu district and just scratch the surface.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, now we're going to go over to the Hawke's Bay, which is actually my hometown. So I grew up here before relocating and making Rotorua my new home. So Hawke's Bay, premium destination, food and wine lovers will be absolutely wanting to get here. Now, in terms of wine, Don, I have a very exciting announcement that last month Hawke's Bay was named as one of the great wine capitals in the world. So we are one of 12 internationally. So we're up there with Bordeaux, Napa Valley, Mendoza, among others. So a well-deserved.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Oh, we're very pleased about that. So look,
I bet.
Yeah, we just have to have a drink to celebrate.
Yes, of course.
Hawke's Bay, we're actually New Zealand's oldest wine region, and there's lots of commissionable product available where your clients can go experiencing, the culture of the wine. So you can do traditional tastings, you can do sommelier guided food pairings, you can do a behind the scene vineyard tours with winemakers. You can hop on a beautiful high-end van and cruise around a whole heap of different vineyards with a very knowledgeable guide. So lots of options there. The other thing that's particularly fascinating, and I think to the North American market, is that it's an Art Deco town, and it is known as the Art Deco capital of the world. So the reason for that is Napier, the inner city of Napier was destroyed by an earthquake in February 1931. When we had to rebuild the city, we had to look at what architecture was popular at the time. And of course, it was Art Deco, it was the 1930s. So you have a significant concentration of Art Deco buildings in quite a short space. And so because of that, it's been embraced. I would wholeheartedly recommend doing a tour of the gorgeous city with the Art Deco Trust. Now, you can do a walking tour, or you can get in one of these legit Art Deco vintage cars where the driver, Don, is dressed up in all of the original regalia of the 1930s, and they take you on a tour of the town. Now, I went on this as a famil, and I thought that I knew everything about Napier, hopped on that tour, was so mind blown. I went back and said, could I do that again? And they had another group going, and I hopped in. It was extraordinary, super fun in a vintage car, and you're going to see some of the best Art Deco and stunning sites of the region. Right, we've talked about wine, we've talked about culture. Let's now talk about some nature. So Hawke's Bay is home to the largest mainland gannet colony, which is on the tip of Cape Kidnappers, which is a little kind of peninsula that juts out. And what you can do is journey out there with overland gannet safaris, and it's extraordinary. You get out there, they pull up a little table, you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and a biscuit, admiring some of the most stunning scenery, surrounded by birds. Absolutely brilliant. Now, cycling's emerging as a bit of a theme as I hear myself talking. Look, we've got over 200 kilometres of very easy cycling in the Hawke's Bay. There's gorgeous limestone terrain, which makes fantastic drainage, so you can cycle here all year round, apart from the fact that Hawke's Bay has quite a mild climate, actually well known for having a Mediterranean-like climate. You can go biking for half an hour, you can do half a day, and there's tour operators there that will do biking, and you can hire bikes and find the trails. Now, what I love doing there on my bike, we talked about wine and food, is on my bike, we go and sample some wine, and we get some of the delicious artisan food. In particular, cheese is a favourite of mine. So stunning off the beaten track food producers in the Hawke's Bay. We talked about it being a premium destination. They have beautiful accommodation here. You've got well-appointed accommodation in the city, across the regions, many which will encompass food and wine experience as well. You've got a lot of boutique hotels. We've also got luxury lodges and retreats. All right, are we ready to move, Don? We're going to go a little bit further north now. Now we're going to bounce into the Tairāwhiti Gisborne region. So this is now, we're still on the Pacific Coast Highway, and now we're on State Highway 35, which is a quintessential Kiwi road trip and bucket list for many Kiwis, and the internationals are just discovering the beautiful landscape and seeing why it's so stunning. So fun fact, this region is the first place in the world to see the new day. So lots of travellers will come here and watch the sunrise either from the most eastern point at East Cape or from Mount Hikurangi, and they can go up there with local Māori and have a spiritual and cultural experience as they watch the sunrise.
Nice.
The new day. So of course, this region's quite popular on the 31st of December because you get to see the sun coming up on the first day.
New Year. Yeah.
That's right. So we have a couple of fantastic commissionable products down here. Now the bottom right needs a mention. This is Dive Tatapori. So this is a real highlight. What your clients are going to do is they're going to get waders on. So they're going to be kitted out in proper gear, right up sort of like overalls, and they wade out to the reef. And then they meet the locals, and the locals are absolutely friendly, non-dangerous, stingray and friendly kingfish. Nice. Yeah, really nice. Now, this region is also home to East Woodhull, which is New Zealand's national arboretum, and that's just out of Gisborne. We also have rail bike adventures. So as you can see up here, get on a rail track, hop on a bike, and it's a great way to see the region, but there's also other bike options available as well. Moving a little bit further around the coast, this is the beautiful Bay of Plenty region. And I'm just feeling relaxed, looking at all of that sun and all of that coastline and all of those beaches. Now, this is where the Kiwis love to holiday for very good reason. So here we have coastline of beautiful sandy beaches. We have fantastic surfing, and it is home to two main cities. So one is Mount Maunganui, and we have a vibrant city of Tauranga. Now, again, fantastic food options here. This is a food basket destination of New Zealand. Think kiwi fruit, think grapes, think beautiful seafood. Now that fish and chips up the top right, my husband and I, or my family, we will drive periodically from Rotorua over to Tauranga because it's only 1 hour, again, short driving time, just to have fish and chips here. It's that good. Some must-dos here. You can go on a boat cruise out to Whale Island. So you can go from Whakatane, which is a small town in the region, go from Whakatane, cruise out to Whale Island, and you can experience some incredible marine life on the way, and there's a lot of bird life on the island as well. Another fantastic option in terms of a cruise-ready trade operator is Waimarino. That word "wai" is popping up everywhere. Can you remember what "wai" is, Don?
Water, and you're surrounded by it. You're like us. You're an island, or you're actually we're one island. You're two.
Yeah, thank you. We've learned.
Well, actually, you know what? I tell a lie. I know we're changing subjects. Australia's really two islands. We're Australia mainland, and we always forget them. Tasmania. That's our second island.
But don't forget the Tasmanians. Can't forget.
They get very upset. I'm actually speaking to Tasmania tomorrow, and that's one thing we are going to discuss. Not to forget them.
Yeah, how important they are. Yeah, yes. Fantastic mountain biking destination as well, Tasmania. We had a lot of them come to Rotorua, and a lot of people from the North Island that are mountain bike all over New Zealand that are mountain bike crazy. When we want to do something different, we'll go to Tasmania. And the two destinations geographically are very similar. We're sort of at the same point in the globe. So some of the terrain that you'll see in Tasmania will look like New Zealand, but of course, New Zealand's better.
Of course it is for today.
I'm glad to say that. Right. So going back to Waimarino, this is a trade operator. They do fantastic kayak experiences into glowworm grottos. So you get in your sea kayak there, with your guide, you paddle into the glowworms. I'm not sure it gets too much better than that. Well, with a glass of wine, that'd be pretty cool. Alrighty, so let's jump on over now to the Coromandel. So the Coromandel is another popular destination for us Kiwis, but it's very popular for people that again like to get off the beaten track, fantastic walking options, cycling options, and again, a very popular destination for the New Zealanders over summer. So really encouraging your clients, if they're going in that high season for us, December, January, February, you absolutely want to be booking a long time out. And I mean, look at it. That's why we go on holiday there. Sun beaches, coves, including the famous Cathedral Cove, which is a short walk through farmland and along the coast, and you're going to find a secluded, stunning limestone archway. Hot Water Beach, that photo in the middle up the top, that's another popular destination. So what you do there is you dig your own salty spa. You get your spade, you can hire them down on the beachfront, and you dig a hole and you find yourself in low tide in a beautiful, warm, underground spa. So fantastic fun. You're going to find smaller accommodations options up here, small hotels, boutique stays, and also a lot of bed and breakfast. But again, you want to be booking in there because it's a super popular spot.
Right.
Okay. And that was us. We just whipped through 8 regions.
We did in a small area too, which is again one of the attractions. It's, as you mentioned at the beginning, it's all there in such a short distance, and it's rather diverse as well.
It is. So you've got a lot jam-packed in a small region. You've got super friendly people who almost all will greet you with kia ora or morena, which is good morning, They will give you instructions to the whare paku, the bathroom, but the warmth of the people in the North Island, and you're really going to feel the culture. You're going to feel your arms wrapped around you. Look, us Kiwis are super friendly people. So you're going to experience that in a very short time frame. So just remember, key points from me: allow 9 to 12 nights in the central North Island. Half of your itinerary should be in the North Island. Fantastic for self-drive. And as you said, Don, nowhere is too far away.
Exactly. Lou's just going to step aside for a minute from the main stage. And we've got a couple of local representatives who will now jump in. Henry from Hobbiton, I think. Is Henry first?
No, we've got Adam first.
Oh, sorry. My apologies. We'll go with Adam first, and then we'll have Henry from Hobbiton, and they're going to give us some updates on their respective products. So over to Adam. Welcome, Adam.
Thank you. Kia ora koutou katoa. Ko Adam tuku ingoa, ko Ngāpuhi te iwi, ko Te Puia te mahi. So hello everybody, my name is Adam. I come from, my family identifies with the Ngāpuhi iwi, or the Ngāpuhi tribe. I mean, I work at Te Puia. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is the changes that we've made since COVID. And so pre-COVID, you used to be able to purchase a ticket to Te Puia and wander around on your own. We no longer do that. So in a post-COVID world, all of our experiences are now guided. Because we find that with places like Te Puia or a museum or an art gallery or a zoo, everything needs context. So the best way for your customers to get all that context and have a Te Puia experience is to have a guided experience. And now all of our experiences are designed to be comboed. So you can have a guided experience with a multicultural performance. You can add on a lunch or a dinner. And so everything's designed to be comboed to just make that experience even better, which is really cool. We are New Zealand's premier geothermal and multicultural tourism attraction. And so that's the main reason why people come to see us at Te Puia, because we're all about the power of the earth and the relationship with the Māori who made their home there thousands of years ago. We also do private experiences for high-end or VIP clients. And we like to design those as we go. So they are all on request. So please do contact us. Let us know how we can make your guest experience even better. And we'll design an experience for you. We also do multicultural performances on request. So if you wanted to combo a private guided experience with a multicultural performance, we can do that for you. And we've got some beautiful contemporary cultural products in our shop that we'd like to add on as well, which I can explain at another time. So that's essentially Te Puia in a nutshell. And what I'm going to do now is pass you on to Henry from Hobbiton. All right, thank you.
Welcome, Henry. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm very good, thank you.
So away you go, please. Give us the updates on Hobbiton.
Cool. So, kia ora everyone. My name's Henry, and I'm just going to give you a quick update on the Hobbiton movie set. As you may well know, Hobbiton is the first and only permanent built movie location in the world. So it's the first organic location. It's the largest movie set that was ever built to make a movie. And it just happens to come from the movie Lord of the Rings. So one of the biggest factors around us is that you don't have to be a Lord of the Rings fan to get value out of the experience that we offer. There's the opportunity to visit a permanently built facility that is actually where the movie was filmed. So you can be a part of it, you can touch it, you can see it. You are transported from one world to another. The tours currently are a 2-hour journey, but over the last 20 years, one of the biggest feedback points that have always been offered was that people want to explore the inside of a hobbit hole. And so we've listened to the public, and we are currently in the process of building a fully themed internal house for people to visit as part of the new tour, which will begin on the 1st of December 2023. Now, tours will extend from the 2-hour journey that they are currently to a 2.5-hour experience that will include the opportunity to explore beyond the door, as we say, venture beyond the door.
I like that.
So the hobbit holes will be made up of 8 individual rooms. There's 2 of them being built side by side, and they will have a 20-minute segment of their 2.5-hour journey exploring the interior of this hobbit hole. It's built at 81% scale, so you will have to duck to go through the doorways and through the tunnels to give that full immersement within that environment. And as you sit at the table, you will feel like someone out of place. You're sitting in a hobbit environment, but it's fully operational. You'll be able to throw a log of wood on the fire and pump the water bowser, and if you're so inclined, you can even pull a chain on the toilet and a little flush. But it's not a living facility, but we want that full immersement from this new edition. And so that has a little impact on what we offer on a day by day. So every combination package we offer, we have a number of different packages that incorporate meals and events. And so the tour will add an extra half an hour to the experience. So a little bit of a change in the itinerary planning as you make your way through the explore, the central region of New Zealand. And so we're hopeful that people will still see great value out of spending a little bit longer with us. And each tour does conclude at the Green Dragon Inn, which is our local pub, and everyone gets a complimentary Hobbit beverage as part of the journey. As you know, Hobbits, we eat 7 meals a day, and we enjoy a good fine ale to conclude our little journey.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Henry. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you for your time. Cheers, Don.
Pleasure. Okay, cheers, mate. Well, again, I think that's what surprised me the most. Like, I do know New Zealand to a degree, but I wasn't really prepared of how much is in such a confined, and I mean that in a positive way, space. It's like there's so much to see and do in around the area you're discussing, Central North Island. And of course, we didn't even discuss the cosmopolitan city of Auckland with all, city of sails and all the things you can do in and around there as well. So that's another stop, which wasn't dealt with much detail in this particular presentation. So on that note, I'd like to thank Lou. I'd like to thank Adam. I'd like to thank Henry for their time today. It was fantastic. If you have any questions, please reach out to us via email. Everyone knows our email address here at GoAway, but I will list those for you right now in case. And again, thank you everyone for your time today. And again, thank you, Lou, Adam, and Henry.
Happy to honor. Thank you.
There we go.
It is time to get comfortable. Please fasten your seat.
This is your captain speaking. We know you have a choice when attending webinars. We hope that you found today's webinar fun and informative. We look forward to welcoming you back to our next webinar. Thank you all very much for signing in today. We appreciate the time that you take to listen in. Keep an eye out for more of GoAway's wide world of webinars, or GoAway WWW. And as always, hit the like button, share the video, and of course subscribe and hit the alerts button to stay up to date on all the latest, updates. GoAway can be found at all these favourite social media channels. Until next time,